172 for Thursday, November 14th, 2013. The first episode after BlizzCon is going live in 3, 2, 1.
StarCast is proudly sponsored by DogHouseSystems.com. If you use the code StarCast or Biscuit at checkout, you will get double memory on your next Doghouse system. And also TweakedAudio.com. Go to TweakedAudio.com for high-performance noise-reducing earbuds. Use our code StarCast and get 30% off plus free shipping on your entire order. And finally, SC2QuoteOfTheDay.com. Daily quotes from the StarCraft 2 community. The site may suck, but the quotes are sick. And make sure to go check out their t-shirts in their new store. Once again, that's SC2QuoteOfTheDay.com, and we thank them for their support. Sponsor an episode of StarCast at thestarcast.com.
Hell, it's about damn time for StarCast.
Incoming transmission.
Biscuit.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 172 of StarCast, the StarCraft podcast. I am Garrett Weinzierl, and with me, as always, as he has been for almost 172 episodes, is Kyle Fergusson. Kyle, man, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. It's good to be back.
It is good to be back. It feels like it's been forever since we have done this show, and done it. Yeah, that's a good point. It's been forever since we kind of did like the normal like news, what's going on in our personal StarCraft experience shows too, because our last episode was recorded with Sir Tasteless. Yes,
if you didn't check that out for some reason, you should go do that. You should also check out Wolf's episode before that, 3 episodes, 168, because that was an excellent episode as well. We basically had a slew of great episodes leading up to BlizzCon, and then we took our 2 weeks off. I got married, did my honeymoon.
Yeah, congratulations, by the way, man. If our listeners don't listen to A Move Radio, another podcast that you and I do together, which is a much more personal podcast, they probably haven't heard about all that jazz. So I recommend, if you're interested on to hear how Kyle's wedding went, how his really nerdy bachelor party that I was a part of went, go listen to A Move Radio, because we told so many personal stories over there that we're going to try and not bleed them over into this episode too much. But yeah, man, you've had a busy week. We both have had busy 2 weeks, I guess.
Yeah.
Your wedding was a blast. The bachelor party was so much fun. I wish you lived nearby. It was a lot of fun hanging out with you.
Yeah, it was something that should happen every weekend. I mean, Magic cards, D&D. Granted, we didn't actually play any video games that night, which is kind of odd, but there's plenty to do otherwise, and certainly looking forward to doing some sort of Skype recorded D&D game coming up in the future.
Absolutely.
I had so many ideas for you guys, and then I just kind of was like, whoa, these are not a one-night adventure. I need to hold on to these for later. But one story I didn't tell over on A Move Radio is that I went to Medieval Times right before BlizzCon, which I said I was going to do, and I did it.
And you tried desperately to get me to go, and I wasn't having any of it, sir.
Oh, I don't think I tried desperately. I mentioned
every time. No, you did not mention it. So you were just like, I'm going to Medieval Times. You should come to Medieval Times. And I was like, well, my favorite sushi restaurant in the world is in Burbank, California, and I'm landing in L.A., so I don't think I can. And you're like, come on, come to Medieval Times.
Well, to be fair, I never expected you to actually agree at any point. That's like, I'm going skydiving, my friend with heights. Afraid of heights, would you like to join me? You constantly bug them because they're not going to go.
Which, oddly enough, would be me.
You missed out on something fantastic. And it was probably the best show they've ever had because, damn, the number of times I heard For the Horde yelled and the entire place just go nuts. It was awesome. And then they get there and they're like doing, we would like to congratulate, Sir Brian on his birthday for the Horde. Whole place goes, yeah.
Okay, so what you're telling me is it was very much something special the night before BlizzCon.
It was a lot of drunk BlizzCon attendees.
Awesome.
Good time.
That sounds like every night after BlizzCon. I'm still hungover. Like it was rough. I told the story I think on every show this week, but yeah, I caught bronchitis while at BlizzCon.
Sure.
Drank way too much. It was so much fun.
Goes the territory. You gotta get a sickness and drunk.
Yeah, it's a good time. I haven't drank like that since college, and I am apparently a totally just old man. I can't do it anymore. It's
yeah,
it's sad. Oh, well.
So you're talking to the man who on the last night of BlizzCon was like, I don't know, I'm pretty tired. I'm going to go have a movie and pizza night.
You bitch.
What can I say? I mean, she got a pile of anime from her friends for wedding gifts, and we had to make our way through a bit of it.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you opened our card yet?
Wait. Oh,
Did you get our wedding card yet?
no.
Really?
Where'd the card go? Oh, it went to. That went to the family house, which is still making our way up in like a big collection.
Gotcha.
So we haven't received everything yet.
I was just curious if you had seen the card yet.
But shoot, one of the gifts I did get was Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, the book from 1978.
Oh my God.
I know.
What?
You guys were scoffing at some of the art in like 3.5. You got to see this. Like, this is stuff. This is like Chris Metzen art.
I was just flipping through I actually have it right here. Oh Jesus, it's heavier than a dictionary. My Art of Blizzard Entertainment, which was a birthday present from Mr. Tash.
Awesome.
I'm not sure if I ever thanked him on air for it, but it is one of my most prized possessions now.
Well, we save some time in the end of the show for shout outs, but let's just go ahead and say Tash representing the whole weekend. I mean, walking up to the devs, talking to them for us. I mean, he was a champion, dressing up for the finals, looking snazzy.
Yeah, I could not fit my suit in my carry-on, dude. So sorry that did not happen. But you weren't in a suit either, so I don't want to hear it.
I lied. I'm so sorry. I have to announce to everyone that I fell through on my promise. I literally had an opera dress, a suit, a bow tie in my bag, ready to go. I had my white suede shoes on. Like I had like the outfit ready to be buttoned up, but I could have changed into the pants and put on the bow tie. But damn, this BlizzCon was packed full of stuff to do. You had to make serious decisions.
Yep.
And like, sure, 2 years ago, it was difficult finding seating in the main area. This year, not happening in the least. That pit for StarCraft was frickin' packed. And
I don't know. I have no idea how Katie and I found seats for the finals.
I don't know either.
Because right before the finals started, I went and recorded a live Angry Chicken with Dills over in the AIE Guild Hall. And like I'm talking minutes before the friggin' finals start. Like I'm getting done with this thing. So I ran over to the hall and we're just walking up and down the aisles and Ben's texting us and he's like, I have seats. And I'm like, okay, where are you guys? And he's like, oh, I'm in the main hall watching the broadcast. I'm like, I'm not going to watch it. I didn't come to the other side of the friggin' country to watch StarCraft on a screen. I could do that at home. So I'm just like angrily stomping up and down the aisles trying to find seats. And lo and behold, I found 2 seats. I couldn't believe it. And they weren't terrible seats either. Yeah. Yeah, it was great.
That's some luck.
And then I went and got food. And then I watched a kind of mediocre finals.
Sure. Semifinals were good, though.
Yeah, they were.
We'll get into that later.
So, BlizzCon overall, again, we talked about the convention as a whole a lot on A-Move Radio this week. So that was episode 8. Go look up A-Move Radio on iTunes or on Stitcher or whatever your podcast catcher of choice is if you want to hear about our impressions on Diablo and World of Warcraft and Heroes of the Storm. We'll probably talk a little Heroes of the Storm on this show since it is made within the StarCraft engine. But overall, I think I've been to 3 now. I think this is the best damn BlizzCon I've ever been to by a landslide victory.
Oh, yeah, they filled it up. Like, I watched the matches I could when there wasn't stuff going on. Like, 2 years ago, I watched so many matches, and there were times where I literally, sat doing nothing, waiting for the next event. And this year, I had to, turn certain things down I wanted to see.
Yeah, I really wanted to see the Warcraft movie panel. I couldn't make it to that. Apparently, I didn't miss much.
No, I heard that as well.
Yeah, I ended up missing the StarCraft panel, which, as we're about to talk about, apparently didn't miss much there either.
Yeah. Hey, if you've been listening to this show for the past month, basically since Kim Fan came on, you know everything that was presented there.
Absolutely. So, yeah, best BlizzCon ever. I think it's the worst BlizzCon for StarCraft ever.
Now, you say that, and as StarCraft fans already, and esports fans for StarCraft, I agree with you. But for people who were just going there for World of Warcraft, Diablo, their StarCraft experience was phenomenal. And I've heard so many amazing stories of people being like, Again, what I was hoping for, what's this going on? Well, there's nothing really happening. Let's go check out WCS. Oh my goodness. Look at this production. Look at how awesome these games are. I've heard people just enamored with the finals. Us who have watched like a billion, GOM TV finals and seen our fair share of landslides in one direction.
Yep.
Definitely sat through another one. But for the new folk, it was pretty sweet to see.
There isn't a BlizzCon I've been to where I haven't, where people haven't walked away that have never seen a live StarCraft match in their life that I've talked to who aren't just losing their minds over what they just experienced. And that is
old guy. That old guy with the giant Santa Claus beard, I found him, and he was watching it in the main hall.
Wait, the guy from 2011 who was
from
like
2 years ago, yeah.
Who you were sitting in front of and listening to him like, a nuke? What is that?
Oh, they're so exciting. Yeah, I watched him during the finals doing the exact, Phoenix play, wow.
That's awesome. I'm so glad that guy came back. If you are out there and you listen to the show, write us. I want to talk to you, sir. I want to talk to you, man with the crazy beard.
While we're asking people to write in, I also wanted to hear what your experience of the finals was if you were part of the DirecTV crowd, because that was definitely a different energy. You just can't capture the screams. I mean, I walk through the main area. People are going nuts for Jaedong. And while sitting in the main hall to watch the broadcast in there, the whole place is trembling. It was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I was really curious because this has been like the year of doomsaying.
Yeah.
and I was really curious to just like, all right, so let's see. We had the International 3 this year, which honestly we were all quite impressed with for Dota 2. I'm curious if like that fanfare and that kind of reaction is going to hold up at the WCS finals, and I think we're absolutely on par, if not even crazier as far as the crowd and the reaction to this was concerned.
They had some good tie-ins doing like the sort of gathering cards that you had to do to get all the casters and the players.
Oh crap, I forgot about I have like 5 packs of those I haven't even opened. I need to open those.
Oh, that's awesome.
So in the main room, they literally were walking by with boxes and chucking them at people. It hurt, like it was hitting you in the eye. And we're like, guys, shit, stop! Like
they were doing that with the beach balls,
raining on us
the last night.
Okay, all right. Well, beach balls, they're soft, they're inflated.
And
but
over at the voice actors panel, they were just giving out posters like mad. So you didn't even have to bring anything to get signed.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, but yeah, overall, I mean, you're absolutely right. And I even talked to a lot of people who watched a lot of StarCraft but had never gotten to see it live. Our buddy Clark from Doghouse Systems. He's a huge, StarCraft esports fan. He's never seen a live event. This was his first live event. And I ran into him just before the finals, and it was so invigorating. Because like I don't know, it was like talking to a kid who had just opened the most badass present ever on Christmas. Like he was just like, dude, I never in a million years thought live StarCraft would be like this.
I can't complain about not having to see that main area either, because there were people with like coolers under their chairs, just camped out all day there.
Yeah, it's a hell of an experience. If you haven't seen a live StarCraft game, I don't know, you need to go sometime. It's really awesome. It's like for us nerds, man. It's like we don't go to a football game. We don't really. I feel like I don't 100% understand that feeling. I'll go to a baseball game every now and then. I enjoy them. I don't like lose my mind.
Right. Well, and you don't understand in like sports for us as video game players, you don't understand the murmur that's going through the crowd when they're like, well, if he would just blitz the ball, then we would get this game over, like just being a part of that and being like, oh, Phoenix is, and like having the guy in front of you, like turn around and give you a smile. It's just the community that you're immersed in is so awesome.
Yeah. I think it was you on AMU who said like the BlizzCon is amazing because it's an entire weekend where you can look at the stranger next to you and you can always get a smile out of them.
Yeah.
It's 26,000 of the closest friends you never knew you had.
It's awesome. And
it's wonderful.
Now I'm suffering from a bit of what we had after, the international for Dota. Like that's it for a bit.
Home Story Cup is starting up. It's never been my personal favorite tournament, but they do good work over there. Stefano's returning for it, so
yeah, I saw
that's
that.
kind of exciting.
Yeah, I hope he does. I don't know. He says he's been practicing, but I'm not expecting too much from him if he's actually started up school.
That's true.
School, no less.
That's true. But hey, I mean, Suppy's been playing like a baller the entire time he's been in school, so you never know.
Right, but now he's gone full time.
Yes, he has gone full time, but this whole past year and the year before that, etc.
Sure.
Whatever the case. But yeah, I guess let's get into it. Let's talk some of the, what little news did come out of BlizzCon for StarCraft. There wasn't a lot. I have to say, going into today's episode, I was like, I'm so goddamn disappointed. Well, come on. But
there's some cool stuff coming. Let's say that. But we're of course hoping for a little bit of Legacy of the Void.
Anything at all. Anything at all would have been nice.
We, at last BlizzCon 2 years ago, had all the Heart of the Swarm teasing, and then they teased us some more by being like, we're going to be quicker this time. This is going to be hot on the heels. Blizzard terms, hot on the heels is like a year and a half. But, 8 months after, kind of expecting to hear a little something. Yeah,
exactly. So, anyways, they did end up doing one StarCraft panel, and some news did come out of that. They're making some changes to the game, basically talking about the next big patch, which is going to be patch 2.1. With it is coming, they're adding an event calendar into the game for clans and groups, so you'll be able to much more easily and in the game plan events properly. Now, this is something that you and I are quite accustomed to from our World of Warcraft days. The old check your calendar. All right, raid nights on this night. Am I going yes? Am I going no?
Oh, I mean, I'm more accustomed to the old days of, oh my God, what were those points called?
DKP.
Oh, DKP. Yup. Going through the forums, registering on a forum calendar, getting your points. Ugh. Gross.
Fun stuff, man. What are you talking about? This is the good old days of WoW, right?
There was a campiness to it I did enjoy.
Yeah, it's a 50 DKP minus, man. Come on. Calm down. Also, we're going to be able to create and upload custom decal art, similar to what's going on in Dota at the moment. You and I have our Freddie Mercury and our Princes of the Universe Dota team.
Flags waving. Yeah.
Here we are.
They showed this with, using the Team Liquid symbol, and it looks pretty sweet. Yeah, I don't know what kind of verification process they'll need to go through. Are we going to have Counter-Strike level spray paint pictures happening?
Oh man, I can't. How many did you play back when Counter-Strike was just a Half-Life mod? Because I remember my 12-year-old self losing his mind every time he saw porn sprayed on the wall.
Pretty much. Well, it's frightening, no less. Sometimes you're like, oh, hey, that's nice and softcore. I'm young. But other times you'd be like, why? Why would you do that in my game?
Oh my God. Yeah, it's good stuff. My mind immediately goes to just, there's just going to be penises everywhere.
Yep.
Crudely drawn wieners.
Or, why you do this faces and troll faces. All that stuff's fun.
Yeah, I'm totally down with all of that. The, the 4chan happy face, all that stuff.
Mostly I just want to see, teams get represented more in their games.
Right.
And sponsors, too.
Mm-hmm. It's been a good step in the right direction. A level cap is getting increased from 30 to 35, and you're going to be able to earn yourself some Carbot animations portraits as rewards, one for each race. Gotta say, I want these. I want them. We left that day, and I'm like, man, they didn't announce anything amazing. And while this isn't earth shattering, I really want these.
Sure, it's a fun little something, and certainly for our community, Carbot has been a staple for a while now.
And he's going to be on the show next week. So for episode 173, make sure you tune in next week because Jonathan Carbot Burton will be our guest for the day. I'm excited to talk to him again. We had him back on. I don't remember the episode, but
136.
130. Do you tell me you had that loaded up?
Oh yeah, no, I searched my Google Docs here. I'm not that good.
Okay.
I don't totally Star Trek this thing.
Wait a minute, sir. All right.
Episode 136 with Carbot.
Awesome. The classic StarCraft music is being brought back into StarCraft 2, but it's also remastered, so it's hopefully going to sound even better. So enjoy. Yeah,
this is a cool feature. I'm a little sad it's not part of the level up process. I know we're just going to get it, which is cool in itself. But hey, make a good thing to grind for.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. I really like the new stuff, and I didn't play enough Brood War for it to be nostalgic for myself personally. So it's not something I think I'd I'd go out of my way to unlock.
Well, I can't say any of the music was particularly good. I mean, the Zerg one was basically, it just drone in the background, but it's going to be nostalgic for me.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. And then the starter edition is getting an upgrade. All races are going to be available for play, which is nice. Custom games are also available as well as the arcade. So it's getting a big boost, but it's still not the proper free-to-play stuff we want. So I still shake my finger at this and say not enough.
Wait, what's not enough here? Because we're getting all the races available. Granted,
Right.
You can't ladder.
You can't just let them ladder. Who cares?
Okay.
Like just let them do it. Why should you have to pay? I don't think you should have to pay that. What would it be, like $40 for the original? Like.
Well, this Thanksgiving, I've heard tons of places, Target, Walmart, they're all doing like $15 specials each.
I guess
So
it's
you
a good
can
set.
get both sets for $30.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm still kind of just make the damn multiplayer free to play. Just
It's interesting after talking with Tasteless last week, who you did play the campaign at all and Artosis with him, but then to go to BlizzCon as well and hear a lot of people I talked to just being like, man, I only ever played the campaign and I'm glad they had it. So.
yeah, that's a good point. I just think there'd be a bigger, but I don't think those people, even if it was free to play, they're not going to get in the multiplayer anyway. I think there'd be more people into the multiplayer, into the competitive side if it was free to play, and hence larger audiences for the esports.
At the very least, though, this allows people to play against computers.
Yes.
And get a feel for the units and enjoy the esports in that way, because there's only so much you can understand before you actually pilot something and press all the buttons available.
Right, exactly. And then they started talking about balance, and actually we're going to talk about the balance update here, but they were, one of the...
What they said at the panel was a lot more philosophical and waxing.
Yeah, like what they're looking at, like right now, like David Kim was talking about Widow Mines, for example, saying that they're seeing it almost in every single Terran matchup that they play. So they want to try and... He said he wants to work on making it so that siege tanks make it more into Terran matchups than they're currently seeing. After watching those games with Maru versus Jaedong, I always yell at the screen, go, just make siege tanks! And then watching that I think it was the last game. Was it Frost, that huge map? I was like, okay, I see why Terrans don't make siege tanks.
Yeah, the Muta switch is very powerful right now.
They can't get away.
No.
They're just dead weight. I don't know. Make them move faster or something? I really don't know what the answer is for siege tanks.
Well, we kind of get into it, with what they're trying next in the, test map balance update. But basically, they're going to reduce the splash damage or kind of mess with that on the Widow Mine. So that Widow Mines are great for like those snipe kills, those, oh crap, I walked right on top of it, boom, splash damage. But if you really just want to take out massive armies, it's going to be a siege tank instead.
Yeah, that's what I don't disagree with that. As much as I like the Widow Mine, I like the siege tank more, and I'd like to see it used more.
Yeah, I feel like, and certainly the Widow Mine is working well right now in pro play, but it needs to be a little more forgiving in just regular Joe Schmo play so that we encourage people to get in there and play some more. I mean, people are afraid of it. It's one of the things that really stresses people out, and that's not fun. Siege tank, while extremely powerful, and we've all taken our, Hydra army walking straight into the siege line and found out what happens. But at least they're there. And it's like, well, I guess if I looked first, it's my fault after all.
That is a good point. I guess that it's something we don't really talk about a lot, or anyone who even mentions StarCraft talks about a lot, which is like how the game, what is the game like for noobs or casual players, the range, average Joes, which is like, that's a good point. The Widow Mine is kind of horrifying. So, I don't know. It's definitely scarier than Baneling Mines because you have to trigger the Baneling Mines yourself.
Yeah.
So, not just a plant and forget. So David Kim went on to say a bunch of other stuff that seemed like the kind of stuff you hear someone running for president saying, that you're just like, okay, yeah, no one's going to disagree with this. Thanks. So enjoy that. We want more excitement and windows of opportunity for players in each matchup. Cool. What the hell does that mean?
Yeah.
And they said that there was a balanced update very soon in the future, and they weren't lying, because just this week they put some of the stuff up, and I'm just like, well, why didn't you just talk about this at BlizzCon? We're not even a week away from it. Come on. Give us something to chew on. And then they brought up the subject of WCS 2014 and then proceeded to tell us nothing about it.
Yeah, I was really hoping for a start date, because that's what I want to know, because looking at last year's schedule, I'm not seeing anything till April, really. And yeah, that leaves room for start of the year dream hacks and other sort of things like that. But I thought we were going to spread things out a little bit, leave room in between these various events, because that's what they really said, was that they were just so one on top of each other that for the majority of the year, and most players, take a big break through Christmas, they're just toppling every other event that comes along. So if we have season 1, a solid month, that's nice.
True. I mean, that's not to say they're going to wait till April. There's no one saying that. We're 5 months out. I mean,
yeah.
They've got plenty of time to announce, no, it's starting in February or March. That's very possible. But they're also saying that they want to leave time for, feedback from teams and organizations, which is definitely, I think, one of their biggest failures from last year. They gave what? Did they even give them 3 weeks to prepare?
It was pretty quick.
It was like announced and start. Deal with it.
Yeah, we do hope that, they were actually in better communication with the players and the teams outside of what we ourselves in the community heard. But it certainly seemed like, hey, by the way, this weekend, show up. Wait, what?
I'm just bitter because I know there's still going to be a swap in the provider of the Korean version, which doesn't make me happy.
No.
That sucked this year. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I want someone to write in and defend OGN's lack of production value. I can't stand watching their streams.
It's rough. It's, and it's something we've become accustomed to, and you get those players together, and it's like, cool, where's my GOM production, and where's Tasteless and Artosis?
And it's like, well, cool, I can go watch the piggyback stream. Which is also terrible. I'm so mad about that.
Right, it does seem a bit, like kindergarten, Well, you guys have to share. Well, it's like, well, it's his toy. Like, let him have it. You don't have to share that. You didn't bring enough for the class. Fine. Let him enjoy his snack.
Wouldn't be entirely disappointed if GOM TV was just like, oh, we're just bringing Code S back. We're out. Just like, okay, cool. I'm just going to go watch Code S now.
No, I'm glad they have the universal system. I can't wait to see what kind of regional changes, because they're making some. We don't know what those are still.
Yeah.
I was really hoping to hear something about that at BlizzCon, but apparently they have a lot to do. And this downtime, of course, I'm sure is when they're going to do it. Why would they just try to cram that in while they were probably completely buried under work that they didn't even know they were going to have in the first place, putting this together this year?
Those are all good points. I just want to watch the best league, which is the Korean league, and I don't want to be forced to watch the subpar production house of it.
Agreed. There was a comment on Swarm Host that I really liked, and he was talking about aggressive and passive play. And if the passive play continues, they're going to look at Swarm Host in the future, which is cool, because what we're seeing right now in a lot of games, particularly just, on your general ladder, is you get a couple Swarm Hosts and you leave them there. And you might, cram someone in their base for the rest of the game. And then what? Like, then you're stuck waiting for the other person to tech to kill you? When you're actually being active with them, like advancing them, using them as part of a winning strategy, they're very cool to see. Otherwise, it gets kind of boring.
Yeah.
Terrans can defend against endless swarm hosts. And I've been in this situation where I've got like 25 swarm hosts or something. I've gone completely overboard. And the other guy is just like Widow Mines, tanks, and like battle cruisers. He can't leave. I've got too much invested in the swarm host, so I can't advance. And we're just stuck in a stalemate. Eventually, I usually get bored and he wins.
It sounds like it. It's scary. It's weird. And and straight up, I don't think we're seeing them used enough. Period. Like,
they have their place, and every unit shouldn't be available in every situation. So I am happy when I watch a game and they're like, this guy sees the opportunity to use them correctly, and then he gets them and wins with it.
Yeah. All right.
However, just getting them generally, like, I'm just going to get a couple just in case they're not being used aggressively. It's usually just kind of a passive thing or a scouting thing, which, is great. I love getting a single swarm host right now just to make sure there's no mines, because I'm not particularly good at piloting an overlord anywhere close to a mine without getting him hit by something.
I guess that's a good point. Never even really thought about that. I haven't had a huge issue with that, and I'm not a wonderful Zerg player. But I always make sure there's just mutas with it. And usually I can just like snipe it before it goes off.
The recent speed upgrade for the Overseer has helped with a muta play versus Widow Mines a lot.
Yeah. So, anyways, I think that's most of the interesting points from the StarCraft panel. If you missed it, there's a summary on both the official StarCraft site and Team Liquid. If you went to BlizzCon and you missed it, we found out that once you claim your little card that has all of your in-game goodies, you actually get a virtual ticket to BlizzCon, and you can go and watch all of the VODs on BlizzCon.com, which is how I caught up on a lot of the stuff I missed this weekend. So go check that out. We did notice, though, however, the quarterfinals for the Hearthstone tournament were not recorded, but that's the only thing I've noticed that's missing. But it was done on that really tiny little stage that was standing room only.
Yeah.
So I don't even think it was streamed.
I don't know if they expected people to just like pass by and move on with their lives, but that place was packed, and I'm not sure they were prepared for it.
The finals were broadcast, and those are on there. The quarterfinals were done the first day, and it was on this tiny little stage that I walked by like 4 times, and I just assumed it was where 2 random whoever from the crowd could go play and people could see them playing. But it turns out that's where they were doing the preliminaries, or the first, whatever that was. I forget how many players. So that would have been the round of 8, because 8 players were playing. So, yeah. Because eventually I went up and watched, because I found out later, this is where the Hearthstone tournament is going on. And I watched Husky just get dismantled.
I've heard that.
he did not play well at all.
But for the most part, I've heard that people really enjoyed watching Hearthstone for the most part.
It was really good. I went and watched the proper finals on the big stage, almost all of them. I was a little late. For StarCraft Connection, Artosis won. Holy shit. Artosis,
of course
he won something.
A man's got a whiteboard the size of my house. And he probably just plans everything out.
Oh, man, it was so good. And all 3 of his decks that he went to the tournament with have been publicly released, like his deck lists. So I've got some dust to save up, I'll say about that. If you want to hear more about that, check out the Angry Chicken. All right, let's talk about the Heart of the Swarm balance update that was recently posted on the official forums and whatnot. This is leading up to, I believe, another balance test map, as these things always seem to do. So, these are the changes they're talking about. First up is the Oracle for the Protoss, getting a movement speed increase. It's currently sitting at 3.375. They're going to bump it up to a full 4, which is a pretty sizable speed increase.
Yeah, we're already increasing it more.
It's really fast. At the same time, their acceleration is increasing from 2 to 3.
Good.
So these things are just friggin', I don't even know, man.
This is tough to take. After
a
win from SOS this past week, someone who didn't really use the Oracle, but with the Phoenix play, he's just waiting for this patch to come live. And this is going to be disgusting.
Well, what are you talking about, man? Apparently SOS only knows how to cheese. I'm not sure the Oracle is going to help him at all.
Oh, no, not at all. From what David Kim said about his justification for this, it's basically that he really wants to see the micro happen and doesn't want to mess with the gas or the cost or anything like that. Basically, he wants one or two to stay alive for the entirety of the game, and then late game really take advantage of Revelation, which they're tweaking a little bit.
Yeah, I like the idea that he walked away from the finals and said, you know what, I want to see more Protoss shit in the air. That's what I'd love to see.
Yeah, I want to see more Protoss harass, right?
Oh, we're being cynical. Also, units that burrow or cloak while under the effects of Revelation will once again be revealed after unburrowing or cloaking or uncloaking. Now, I feel like this was mentioned in the past, wasn't it?
No, it was. This has been a pretty constant change they've been doing, and really, it kind of strikes me as, I don't know, common sense.
This is how I assumed it worked, or
exactly.
should have worked.
If they cloak it, in fact, I would think if they cloaked or burrowed after getting Revelation on them, well, then, geez, they should be able to be seen while they're cloaked. But, I'm perfectly happy with, being able to hide my units until this goes away.
Yeah, I guess it just adds a little layer of interest and micro decisions to it, which I'm fine with.
Yep.
So, good on that. Moving on to the Terran, the vehicle and ship weapon upgrades have been combined. So
continuing, they've been wanting to do this forever.
Yep.
Just let it happen.
As well as the next one, the siege mode attack period being decreased from 3 to 2.8. Bring it on. So down with this. And then the Widowmine nerf that has been talked about. The Sentinel missile now deals reduced damage to units caught within its splash radius based on their distance from the target.
Now, this is completely new, and a completely new direction they've been taking this.
They talked about it in the last preview. It hasn't shown up on a balanced test map yet, though.
Well, the previous iteration was that they were just messing with the splash radius itself. Now they're doing it so that the further you are from the actual mine itself, you're taking more damage and a bigger blast radius, which is pretty cool. So
wait, you mean less? The further you are, the less damage you take.
Yes. Did I say that opposite?
You said it opposite, but
okay.
I knew what you meant, but I was just clarifying.
Right, so if fast little lings run across it, boom, massive splash damage, as it should be.
But the lings on the outer ring are still alive. They're just badly bruised.
Right, but the closer you are on top of the mine, the more you mess up and get in the mine's face, the more damage you're going to do. Whereas if you do like the Muta thing where you're like, whoops, and like just barely graze it, you're going to be taking less damage and less splash,
right.
Which is nice. It's forgiving. I don't know if this is based on their launch point or if you can run away. You know what I'm saying?
It has to be where it lands because it triggers and then it follows. It has to be from the point of explosion.
Okay, so
point of impact. It can't be where because the way it works now, you run past it and it goes off and it explodes nowhere near where the mine is.
Yeah.
Most of the time, especially with speedlings.
I would assume so, which is a great thing for skill. So if you actually do step on top of it, but you happen to just be booking, then maybe you're not.
They'd be useless because nothing walks on top of a mine and stands still.
Well, if you put a mine like right on your ramp somewhere that you're going to be stopping or in a mineral line and people don't notice it, then hell yeah, give me the full damage. Destroy me because that's my fault.
Right. But it's just not the way the Widow Mine works. If it exploded when you stepped on it, that would make sense. But it doesn't.
Yeah.
It fires a projectile that then explodes.
Right.
But I kind of get your confusion there. But no, it has to be from the point of impact. Otherwise, it'd be now utterly useless.
Right. So actually, that would make Widow Mines more powerful as a defense, like up against, your supply depot wall, just putting it right up next to it. So when things do get up in there, they're not going anywhere. They take the full damage. I like this change. It's flavorful too.
Yeah, they'll still work fine the way you currently use them. They're just going to do slightly less damage to the further out units. The maximum damage is 40. It then goes down to 20 on the inner ring and 10 damage on the outer ring.
Right. So placement more important. And if you really want to have that range, well, get yourself a siege tank. I like where this is going.
Mm-hmm. It's good stuff. And then finally, the Roach Warren, the Tunneling Claws upgrade now increases burrow roach movement from the movement speed from 1.41 to an even 2. So your burrowed roaches are going to be booking it.
Not as booking it as they were in the past, though. Whenever we did our episode with Wolf in 168 was when this first patch came out, and that was up to 2.25. So a little less. there's been a lot of talk this week about how OP this is. But damn it, guys. Like, you keep posting videos of me, like, check out how OP the roaches are. Well, you went 200 supply roaches. Like, what do you expect against the Protoss army? Like, no, like, sprinkle them in, use them tactically, use them in a situation where you're losing, and then tell me if this is broken.
Use them against an opponent that doesn't let you get to 200 roaches.
Exactly. Or fully burrow completely under your enemy and then pop up surrounding them.
Right.
I think that's maybe why you're winning there.
Possibly.
But either way, cool. I'm looking forward to this. I'm a little sad to see the speed go down, but it was a little ridiculous.
Still, that's still a sizable increase in speed.
Yeah.
It's gonna make me burrow my roaches a lot more, because honestly, I almost never bother with burrow. I get the on land movement speed, and I just run around.
It is interesting that they're doing a decrease, though, and he's talking in his personal notes here, saying David Kim wants to increase the play. It's like, well, you're nerfing it, but then, well, I guess it's still a buff. So what can you do?
It's not. It's still it's a buff. It's just decreased from the last time they had this on a balanced test map. It's not a nerf.
No,
because the way it's currently in the live game, it's 1.41. So
yep,
it's still a buff. So there's that. Cool. You can check that out. Those are over on the official forums and on Team Liquid, all the usual places. There was a really awesome Team Liquid post. I'm trying to find who actually made the post. It was made by Zealously, and it's called BlizzCon The Numbers, and it's like a wrap-up of pretty much I don't know why I said BlizzCon, because it's pretty much a wrap-up of like the whole year of WCS. Overall win rates, money made, so many awesome stats. It's just stats, more stats and stats on top of your stats. Yo, dog, I heard you like stats. Just really cool stuff.
It is neat, and
I don't think it takes. Oh wait, I'm sorry. When this was posted, I don't believe it takes the actual finals.
No, this came out November 8th.
Yeah,
so
it came out just before. But it's still awesome looking at all of the. Like going into the finals, MC had made the most money. MVP below that, and like just seeing like players you wouldn't like. Look at like they show the top 16 in money earned before the finals, and I'm surprised to see like Naniwa and Tasia above Innovation. Just in my mind, I feel like, well, didn't Innovation win more stuff? No, because Tasia and Naniwa are running around playing the living hell out of all the foreign tournaments.
Yeah, exactly. Taking advantage of all those smaller tournaments too. This is really cool to see. I mean, MC making $400,000 this year off this game. We've got a long way to go to support a healthy, particularly American scene, where lots of players can, make a living off of a game like this.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's not a single American player in this top 16. Some are on American teams.
Sure,
but no American players.
But, when it comes to the top, it's cool to see guys that are at the best of their game taking home like this.
Absolutely. And it's funny because since this was before the finals, it's like SOS at 16 with only 32,000, but he won the finals, so he got a big bump in his number.
Well, and like Deer, who is, let's see.
He's number 13.
13. Okay, cool. So Deer, he made 61,000 only off of WCS events. So he wasn't just out there, making sure he got money every single place he could, like Naniwa. I mean, he just WCS. That's amazing that Blizzard is supporting that many players.
Yeah, it is cool. Although, the argument could still be made that GSL had more money in it before WCS happened, but...
Yes. Of course, but, you had to be in Korea for a solid, 3 months, and... was the money really worth it at that point? But again, we don't have any foreigners. We're still new, clearly.
Right, exactly.
Got a long way to go.
But, there's just some really cool stuff in here. It showed like Jaedong had the highest win rate in any individual matchup. He had a 74% win rate in ZVZ going into the WCS finals. His lowest being 53% in ZVP.
Yes, it was.
MC had the greatest amount of televised games. 1,414 recorded competitive games.
Wow.
I love this kind of stuff. It's so interesting. There's just a ton of stuff we could spend way too much time
One of the humbling things about this is looking at just the overall win rates. And in order to be a champion, number one with the best win rate, innovation, 67%. He loses 33% of his games.
That's ridiculous. That's
then you go down to like
I can't
believe
Innovation lost in the first round of these finals.
Oh, he got crushed.
That whole first round, I was just like, my mind was boggled. No one I had my money on made it out.
Yeah, I watched just about every one of Naniwa's games while I was there because, well, you couldn't stop. It was like, what's going on? I hear the crowd. You just wander over. People are going nuts, of course, for the Final Foreigner. Man, that dude had some awesome force field play. Like, he showed up ready to cast force fields and nothing else. It seemed like he got a little exhausted at the end, just kind of started throwing them willy-nilly, and it seems to be what lost him the game when he didn't use them spot on. But it was very cool to see him take advantage of force fields, take advantage of Mothership and its teleport back to home ability, recall.
Yep.
I know you don't have to agree with me.
Just making the joke that there was so much cheering because he was losing so hard.
Oh
yeah,
that's because he was the only.
Bathe me in Naniwa hate. Bring it on. I was waving my Korean flag the whole weekend.
Well, lucky you then.
Which isn't to say I was particularly happy with the outcome of the tournament. I was not. So, yeah. Anyways, go over to Team Liquid right now and check this out. Some really cool stuff. This is one of my favorites. Sulky was the only player at BlizzCon who had not lost to a single foreigner ever. He eats foreigners for lunch.
Let's change that stat this year.
He is a good freaking player.
Oh, he's always
love
solid.
Watching Sulky. So yeah,
that's where SOS came from. I mean, you're like, what? I think everyone at that finals was like, wait, what? SOS? But then you're like, oh wait, global finals, season 1 finals. Oh, okay. I guess he did earn all the points.
Yeah, no, he. It's hard to want to just like be like, yeah, he earned it, but because he just cheesed like a bitch. Like I just don't want it. I don't want to.
He played a bit more solid in some of his other games.
Yeah,
but
I don't want to
cheer.
cheer.
How to deconstruct Jaedong.
Yeah, it was just boring. It was just real boring. I was talking to friend of the show, Discrax, today, and we were lamenting the finals. And he goes, "Yeah, I saw 2 cannon rushes, literally fell asleep, woke up, and confetti was going off." I'm like, yeah, that actually sounds a lot like how it was going in my head. Would have been impossible to sleep in that crowd. People
you know
losing
what?
their minds.
I've had cannon Russians in my natural. I've even like had the base pop up and then been like, oh crap, right out of sight range.
Yep.
But a pro, like when I'm playing, I don't have to worry about him getting like warp tech in the next 5 minutes. And that was just disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
Instantly teleporting in too many zealots.
Yep. And then, tech straight to Mass Phoenix.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, guys. You know it's really fun to watch? Mass Phoenix.
Yeah, it doesn't even care about the spore crawlers at that point.
Yeah, it's
it was quite the trek for him. He I think he didn't lose just 1 game per go. Yeah.
Yeah, Jaedong only took 1 game off of him. It was a good game.
He rolled Bomber too.
Yeah, okay, if you take out Bomber, like, you earned it.
He rolled Pole, yep. Rolled Hero, yeah.
Yep.
He won it, what can you say?
I can say bastard. That's what I'm going to say.
You can say disappointment, I think, is the word of the evening. The people who were watching at home, I've heard had a phenomenal time. And were slightly disappointed, but still were like, all right, those were pretty decent. But if you were there live, the number of Jaedong posters, the shaking of that amphitheater it was like golf clapping. Like people were using the back of their hands to go for SOS, but people were losing just completely losing their minds.
Yep.
Tash yelled himself hoarse in that crowd.
That's a good point. I remember talking to him afterwards. It was sad. It's like, I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed.
Yep.
So there's that. Speaking of disappointment, cue the doomsaying about MLG and SC2, sir. Can you cue that up?
Well, I've already got it queued, but I'm sorry, my record's about 3 months old.
Ah, crap. So Axlov and Axeltos are leaving MLG as the in-house casters for StarCraft 2.
Yep.
Yeah. And in true MLG fashion, jack shit has been said.
It's true. We talked about it before. MLG is a business. It's kind of tough right now for me to head over to Dota Reddit and be watching them get so pumped to have MLG Dota this year. And I'm kind of like, you guys, as long as you're the hot jam, enjoy it. But, when things get a little rough, you're going to be out. And the real sad part about this is, man, it was Axelav's birthday the day. Yeah. They let him go on his birthday.
Did we all find out from a less than 140 character tweet from Sundance at 5 a.m?
I hope they do something a little more contractual and they let people go. But, we were still kind of hoping, MLG teased out that they might still be doing some arenas in the future. And clearly, if they're letting go of their guys, well, we're not going to be seeing any StarCraft out of MLG anytime soon.
I mean, this sucks. We've had Axelov on the show quite a few times. I've met him in person a bunch of times, and he is just one of the coolest dudes I have met in the course of doing this podcast.
I mean, you can put him up, I even put him in the top 5 of passion and knowledge about the game.
Oh, yeah. He's like...
And a fantastic beard.
He's like the Artosis that we have on this side of the world.
Exactly. So, with that in mind, I don't fear for his future. But then you go to BlizzCon and you see the analytical desk.
An overcrowded analysis desk.
Yeah, 5 people at that desk. And Mr. Bitter wasn't even sitting there. He was being interviewed on DirecTV during the finals while they had 5 people at the desk and 3 casters going at once. Granted, I must say, Apollo, the Tricon, Apollo, Tasteless, and Artosis was really good. There was no downtime between what they had to say. Every single one of them just flowed perfectly. I really enjoyed the Tricon.
It's a thing that happens at BlizzCon quite often. I remember the first one in 2010. You had Tasteless, Artosis, and Day 9 all standing on stage casting the final games.
Yeah, they did, a Brothers cast too, and just, but it's scary. And it seems like a packed industry at the moment.
Yeah, that's for damn sure. Absolutely. So, I don't know. This is sad. But honestly, with StarCraft 2 gone from their main LAN event, I had already written off MLG as a place to care about StarCraft.
Well, and that's the thing. So, I appreciate MLG for bringing an North American scene together live. And
this isn't to say well, it sucks for them, but I am excited because Dota's going to be at the next MLG event, and I like me some Dota. So
sure,
it's not like I'm never going to watch MLG again.
No, and I want that game supported as well. So, clearly they had a rough time with Blizzard too. They purposely dropped, and they weren't dropped by Blizzard. MLG dropped Blizzard for WCS, and from what it seems, it was a mess. Both sides.
Yeah, I've talked to a lot of people, none of which I can say anything about anything or anyone. Any inside information I've heard is not positive.
No. But MLG is in a position where they can say, we don't have to deal with this.
Yeah, I guess so.
We've got things to do.
We've got Call of Duty, man. The most skillful, interesting to watch professional game ever.
Dude, when a company comes to you, I mean, PS4 is going to be definitely, at this next MLG. And if I was running that company, hell yeah, I'd want some of that PlayStation money flowing through my event.
You know what StarCraft needs? It just needs dogs as a care package you can call in, man. That would make the game so much better.
I'm not getting a PS4 or anything anytime soon. It needs to be a few more games for me.
People think I like to hate on LoL, but clearly they have never asked me my opinion of professional Call of Duty.
Oh, I thought you were because I think you bashed on LoL enough on here. Not a lot.
LoL, it's like a joke for me personally because I just personally like Dota, and it's just fun to be like, haha, Dota's better. I get it. I get why people like League of Legends. I'm not an idiot. I don't think it's the worst game ever. It's just fun to tease people, like people who own Windows phones. It's fun to make fun of them,
Right?
because you think they would have learned from the Zune. So let's talk about the WCS finals as a whole. I think we talked about the final matches enough and how not really that interesting they were to watch. Let's talk about a series that I really enjoyed. I wanted to talk about Maru versus Jaedong.
Yeah.
First off, if the series alone, which was amazing, wasn't enough to make you want to watch it, Tasteless and Day 9 casted it together, which that alone I think is worth the price of admission. It's special.
It was. They don't put them up against each other very often, and it's always a bit of a treat. Clearly they know each other extremely well, but in a professional capacity, they don't always get to cast together. It's always fun to hear like Day 9 go, "Oh well, here comes the thing, Nick."
Tasteless?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but this was an awesome series. Game 1 and Game 2 are like, if you start watching this from the beginning, don't get discouraged because you're going to watch Game 1, then you're going to watch Game 2, and you're just like, Jaedong seems to be owning Maru in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah. That being said, I think both of these are really interesting to watch just in a way of like how to completely disarm a Terran as a Zerg player. I mean,
particularly if you are a person who is having difficulty playing against players like Maru, which is basically to say mass Marines and medevacs
and Widow Mines, which is like every Terran ever.
Yeah, and they were like these were the classy kind of Widow Mines I'm talking about, like well placed, put in the back of his own, supply lines, not the kind that are like running up into your natural and doing ridiculous thing like just well placed, well executed moves.
Yeah. He was doing what we see a lot of Terrans do though, and bringing them out with the army and placing them and trying to kite things back into them.
Exactly, yeah.
But if you like Banelings, these first two games are going to be really interesting because dear God, this is just Banelings on parade.
Oh, they said at one point that Jaedong had more Banelings than he had Zerglings, and that just goes to show what he thinks of Zerglings. Like, oh, you are for Banelings.
And and this isn't like he had 3 Banelings and 1 Zergling. No, this is like he had 52 Banelings and 30 some odds. It was ridiculous, some of the numbers he had going.
When he plays, it seems like he's doing something wrong because he's always floating like 3,000 minerals, but 0 gas. And he's spending every ounce of it.
One of the games, though, and I think it was Game 3, which was, in my opinion, I think the best game I saw all weekend. I think Game 3, was that the one where he was floating over 2,000 gas and Day 9 goes, Zergs dream about this.
Mm-hmm. It's a good quote.
Yeah. Or maybe that was Game 4. I think it might have been Game 4 because that's when he transitioned into Ultras to seal it.
No. Yeah. He had gas in Game 4, sealed it with the Ultras. It was in Game 3 when we had those really cool back and forth plays when he was just getting absurd 5,000 minerals or something like that.
Yeah. So, but Game 3 was just insane. Jaedong opened really strong, really beat Maru back, and then Maru clawed his way back into the game.
He did what he's good at, and it's what Gumiho is good at as well, but not quite as drop-centric. More like there was medevacs with the Marines, yet they just ran everywhere. It wasn't really a drop mentality.
Yeah.
But there was a point where I looked at that mini-map, and I was like, dear God, I would fall apart. Just take my hands off the keyboard and mouse and be like, I don't even know which direction to pull anything.
Yeah. It was a hellacious game. I couldn't believe Maru actually came back with it. And then Game 4 is also just ridiculous. I mean, it ended by Jaedong killing all the structures on the map of Maru. I mean, what better way to usher in the finals for WCS 2013 than having a game that went down to the last depot.
Yep. Awesome.
Like, it was just ridiculous. That one engagement with the first round of Ultralisks, where at the end of it, J9 goes, "Wow, that was so close. A Thor was kiting an Ultralisk." Like, that was my favorite quote of the whole weekend.
I love them, man. They're big, they're clunky. Thank goodness they have splash damage, unlike in Brood War, because that was a bit silly. They were just there for their health, but always a joy to see the Ultralisks come out.
Tanks, man. Tanks.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a good series of games. We got to see some Brood Lords, which have been pretty sparse this year.
Yeah. We got to see those as well in the finals there, in the one game Jaedong took, where it really just spoke to SOS's skills, because he was holding back a maxed out Zerg at 120, 100 for the longest time. Mm-hmm. And it basically came down to really awesome storm play that SOS was able to pull out. So he leads with cheese, but when he gets up against the wall, he can still play really solid. And you know what? I think he's starting to grow on me. I think next year I'm going to be rooting for some SOS.
If I see more cannon rushes, he's going to become the new MC for me. I'm going to come down on him with so much hate that won't matter, because I'm sure he doesn't care what I think.
Sure. Yeah. Let me sit on top of my hundreds of thousands and listen to your opinion here. But as long as he's not July Zerging it, and I know that, like, for a lot of our new listeners, that doesn't mean anything, but basically when we first started getting into StarCraft 2 esports, there was a player, July Zerg,
who was a legend from Brood War.
Yeah.
Very popular player.
Known for his aggression and his rushes. But this guy would, kind of, I want to say Idra it again, man. If you just joined us, you don't know that one either. But, he'd give it a go. And if it failed, like, that's all he had in him. And SOS, if those cannon rushes didn't make it, I think he has enough up his sleeves to keep going.
Yeah.
Of course, they didn't, not help him win the finals, certainly.
Yeah, exactly. So, is there any other games that you want to talk about, or was that your kind of highlight for the weekend as well?
You know what? I believe I was the one who was pointing you towards the Jaedong Maru games as well. So,
yeah,
I definitely enjoyed those. Let me see if I can find who Naniwal was up against, because those were some really awesome games. And of course, if you were rooting for the last Foreigner, you had a good time, even though he ended up dropping it. All right, here, making my way through Team Liquid. Yes. Yes. Check him out. Soul Key versus Naniwa. I know he didn't take it, but honestly, the clutch force fields. And, I'm not a Protoss player, so I always get a little confused when I see a bunch, there's like, and I'm like, did he accomplish what he wanted? He got like 5, and the caster's like, 5 Hydras. And I'm like, well, he could have gotten more, but that's the thing about it, is you just want like that bite-sized piece. And that's what he was so good at, is, you kill 5 Hydras, that's 100 minerals and 50 gas per.
Yep, and a lot of DPS you're removing from their army.
Exactly. I mean, you're taking out a lot there. So certainly if you're an Anyone fan, and if you want to see more play like that, check out Revival, because this is what got the crowd really going at WCS. I think people were pretty tame until Revival versus Naniwa took the field, where he 3-0'd him.
Naniwa 3-0'd Revival?
Yes.
Oh, gotcha. I'd rather watch the one with Sulky, because he lost.
I know you would. This is not for you. You want to come to Medieval Times?
Sure.
It's not for you.
Next time I might actually come with you. It sounds like it was a good time, and I was a humbug. Although I will say I got to go have my favorite sushi roll on the planet. So
sure,
there's that.
I was impressed with the food, but that's like saying, I had a good time in Blade Trinity. You kind of walk in with no expectations.
That's the only Blade movie I like, because I like Ryan Reynolds. I hate the Blade movies. I hate them all.
I like 2 for its darkness, but the whole vampire troop crew was just kind of silly.
I don't care for those movies. I liked Underworld way more than Blade.
One of the most enjoyable things at BlizzCon, kind of switching topics here, but we started talking about movies and also got the voice actors panel that I went to, spent the majority of my con at, listening to Steve Blum talk about doing the Abathur character and basically making fun of women's lady parts for the entire time when talking about his character.
Oh, really? I've never heard anyone make that connection when discussing the Abathur character whatsoever.
Well, he certainly did, and he loved it. He was very enthused. And then the sound clip, it's got to be out there on the internet somewhere, of him doing the Abathur voice, ordering McDonald's drive-thru and ordering, no extraneous condiments.
That's amazing. Oh, that's so good. And you told me the guy, the actor who does Arcturus Manx did a beer commercial in the voice of Manx.
Yep, did the whole war is coming, and then, but when war is done, I like to have myself a Southern Comfort. Just those guys were having a blast
That's
up there.
Great.
And every single one of, particularly Tychus, the voice actor for Tychus.
Mr. Neil Kaplan, who we've had on the show.
Yes, back on episode 50 or 52, way back then.
Kyle, the encyclopedia of StarCast episodes.
He was so into his character, like even this far after the fact. And both him and Minx turn into each other, and they're both like, "You didn't see a body, did you? No one, you didn't see a body either way. We could be back." What? They're like, "Blizzard, just ride us back in. We want to continue."
I would give anything to have Tychus come back. I'm okay with Minx being dead. Tychus was a gem. I can't believe he's gone.
Yeah, I'm certainly hoping for a nice infested Tychus. He's stuck to a wall somewhere, but I'm not expecting that to be a big part of the Protoss campaign. Certainly, I don't know what Tychus has to offer at the end of the world.
Yeah.
Did find out that the voice of Imperius for Diablo is doing the dark voice for us in StarCraft.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's a cool little connection there. Got to meet up with Robert Clotworthy, which was awesome. That man was a champion. He sat on stage for a solid hour, 15 minutes signing posters, and then stepped off the stage so the next thing can come on, and stood there for another 2 hours shaking hands. And so it was great to meet up with. I was
so sad I didn't run into. I wanted to buy that man a drink. I'm so pissed that I didn't run into him.
Most certainly. He is just so appreciative of the fandom he has. So it was really cool to run into him.
Listeners, if you're not aware, Robert Clotworthy is the voice of Jim Raynor, who we've also had on the show. And him and Neil Kaplan both are massive highlights for me personally as far as episodes we've done of this show. Those are some of my favorite episodes ever. So good on them. I guess you probably got a lot of StarCraft love over on the voice actor stage. I feel like the whole weekend there was not very much StarCraft. WCS aside, that was running 24/7.
Yeah,
but there was just.
And that's when they got up on stage and they were making the announcement. Mike Morheim teasing out, "You'll know about a World of Warcraft expansion soon." And we're like, "Oh God, no World of Warcraft!" And he's like, "WCS is here all weekend." And what else?
Yeah, no one cheered. It was so awkward.
Well, because we knew it was there all weekend.
Yeah. Although then they played that awesome trailer and people lost it, so that was good.
But Blizzard All Stars was fun to check out.
Yeah. Oh well, no, it's not called that anymore, sir. It's called Heroes of the Storm.
Oh right, yeah. Well, Heroes, right? That's what we were talking with Viper. Which let's say it again. Congratulations on your recent job at Blizzard.
Yes, dude. Thank you very much. Or thank you. Congrats very much. Thank you for giving Kyle a Hearthstone key.
That too.
That's what I'd like to thank you for. I've been wanting to play him forever, and now I finally can. I owned his face just before the show tonight. As a matter of fact.
Well, first of all, you've been playing a long time, and I have that sweet caveat that I go, well, I still haven't bought any cards, so no matter how many times you win, I get to just be like, well, whatever. Yeah,
very, very, very true, and it's only fitting because you completely just jacked my shit when we played Heroes of the Storm at BlizzCon. So I lost so bad to Kyle that Kyle's wife, and I quote, said, "Garrett died like a bitch."
I was tickled pink because Heroes of the Storm is a labor of love. I don't even know if you can call it that. It is just a labor of their own fandom to themselves. This is a game that they invented for themselves, and they are going to happen to let us play it. And one of the things they're doing with it is just making the most ridiculous skins for their characters ever. So you get in the game, and you can select from a wide variety of heroes. Raynor, the one Nova. Well, the one I ended up picking was Tassadar. I'm like, okay, I'm watching Kristen. She's picking Diablo. His alternative skin at this convention, they talked about some others, including like Merkablo, where it's a giant Murloc costume for the big Hulk and Diablo from Diablo 1. But this one was Godzilla Diablo. But I switched my alternative costume on Tassadar. It's Mecha Tassadar, like robot version. I lost my shit. It was awesome. And then Ben sitting next to me, he picks Nova. And they have a skin of her as a roller derby girl. And not only like a skin, like, oh, well, it's just wacky, whatever. No, like actual like custom animations. So that everywhere she went, she was rollerblading.
Yeah, that's sick. It's totally badass. I'm very happy about it. I played as Arthas, which once I actually figured out how to play the damn game, I was enjoying, but it already fallen so far behind. Didn't matter, but it's a very fun game. I'm really excited for it, and I'm excited to play you in it when I actually know what I'm doing.
Yeah, well, it's we only got to really sit down and play it once. The talent system in it was kind of thrust upon us. I can't believe we went to tons of panels for it. I was very excited to learn more, and they talked about the different maps and how they each kind of have this bonus objective and alternative win scenario, but never once did they talk about the leveling up. And both of us were about halfway through our games. We go, oh, what's that? I unlock abilities as I level? I guess I should have been doing this sooner.
Yep. Happened to me. Also, everyone, make sure you log into your Battle.net account because you can tick the box for I'm interested in the Heroes of the Storm beta now. So
yeah,
make sure you do that. Let's take some emails. What do you think?
We can do that.
All right. You can send emails to starcastshow@gmail.com. Our first email today comes to us from Carlos, and he writes, "The finals were epic." Okay. It's nice to hear a different opinion. He said, I wanted Jadon to win, but I guess we will have to wait for next season to see him break out of the second place rung. Either way, I feel like what the finals showed me anyways, was that the best way to play Heart of the Swarm is being the earliest aggressor/pressure establishing player. Throwing opponents' build off or making them lose focus for even a few seconds will cause them to possibly make errors and easy to capitalize on. I may be late on catching on to this. I don't know. Typing there is weird. But after the finals, I started thinking about my own games and realized that many of the ones I had won was because the early strategy I had used. Cool. Good. Good thoughts. I'm glad he enjoyed the finals.
Yeah, well, it sounded like he was watching from home. So again, there wasn't that like, because the camera zoomed in, the confetti fell, the casters were screaming. Like when we were watching on the main stage, what we saw there seemed like a great victory for SOS. But the weight, like just the collective, that happened when J-Dong lost, and all those posters were ripped in half or whatever happened to him.
I like to think that everyone went out back afterwards and burnt them in effigy.
Yeah.
Big
send them on
J-Dog poster fire.
Throw them in a boat and send them down the river.
I'm lucky enough to still have my MKP poster signed by MKP from the MLG that MKP won. But now he's a LoL player, so I want to set it on fire.
Oh, so. Well, I still got my Dongri Gu one here, and
he'll come back, man. Don't worry.
I'm hoping.
This last season, he showed some serious promise.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about that since we, had Tasus on. We didn't really do kind of a pre-BlizzCon jazz-up show. But it's really apparent when you saw those numbers for races anyway, that half of this year was dominated by Hellbats.
Yeah. Nuts. Crazy stuff. Our other email today comes from Mike T. And he said that I heard on a show a week or two ago that one of you guys was having trouble getting Twitch to his TV. So he told us, buy a Roku, install Twitch on the Roku, watch it on your TV in HD. I did not know there was a Twitch app for Roku. I'm very excited.
Awesome.
I'm very excited about this because I own a Roku, but it, however, is not on my good TV. It's in the bedroom, so we can watch TV or Netflix in the bedroom. But I guess I could watch Twitch in the bedroom on the not as nice TV. It's an option, or just get another Roku.
You poor thing.
What
will you do with all this technology?
Why isn't there a Twitch app on the consoles. I don't get that. It seems like Twitch, video game console, duh.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that PS4 is doing something like that. I mean, they certainly have like the Connect button. Twitch support, PS4. Yep, streaming fanatics.
Well, PS4, okay. The console that doesn't come out till tomorrow? Gotcha. Good to know. That helps me a lot.
Okay, yeah. They didn't go back and like retrograde it for, but I guess when that's a big feature with that Connect button sitting right there in the middle of your PS4 controller, kind of the go live button there. They're not going to go back and get that going.
Mike also said that he on the Tasteless show he heard that we're into Dan Carlin. He said it's totally worth it to go get the Punic Nightmare series from his website because it's not on iTunes anymore, especially if you're into ancient Rome.
You know, that's funny because that's actually the 3-episode set that we bought for our plane ride.
That's awesome.
Like, just listen to that.
That's badass. Was it good?
It was good. You know, Rome gets so complicated, and it's one of those time periods where Blankacles and it just all the names start sounding the same. But
so it's like reading a Tolkien book is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, it is a bit like that. Or even you can just say Song of Ice and Fire as well.
Yep.
With the family names and the trees, and you're just like, what? But Dan Carlin always does a good job breaking that down. I am personally, though, you got to go farther back for me to really get into it. I love like ancient history.
I really like Rome. I find it incredibly intriguing.
It's so political, though, and
I don't know. I think it's cool, like because that a culture that old had that type of. They were that far advanced. I don't know. I find it because it is so. It's such a mirror of how we are today, but it's so barbaric at the same time.
Yeah, well, you come up in that culture where war is a profitable industry, still is, but not one that everyone participates in. And you think, well, I guess if that's the world you were born in, us humans, we're so great at just you're born a blank slate, and no matter what world you enter into, you're immediately ready to accept it as reality.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think that's why we find fantasy so enticing, because you're like, oh, okay, you put some humans in space. Sure, if that's their world, they'd be into it and they'd believe it.
Yep. Good stuff.
But
Thanks.
I love the Mongol series. I just today Fall of the Roman Empire, which, you know what, Caesar, you're not as cool or nice as I was taught in elementary school and high school.
You mean to tell me that we got that in our public education we got a sugar-coated version of history?
Yeah, it's like Columbus wasn't as big as a hero as I once thought. I don't know. Displacing an entire indigenous tribe.
Yeah, or being just an all-around complete and utter racist bastard.
Yet I live here in Chicago, which is named for the tribe that lived here. So, I'm happy to be in America. Not going to complain about the past, but certainly we all could have been a little more ethical.
Is it? But, what comedian was it? I think it was it Eddie Izzard who said, "America, a nation of people so uptight the British kicked them out."
That sounds like something Eddie Izzard would say.
I'm pretty sure that's him. If I'm wrong, feel free to correct me. I always get my comedians mixed up.
We used to have an awesome segment on the show done by Achilles, a community dude who's plays a lot. Well, dude, let me just say, Achilles, if you're listening, stop changing your damn name in Steam. I know you can change it as much as you want, but every time I log in, you message me, and I don't know who you are anymore.
Yep. Stop it. Go back to Achilles.
Just pick
Jerk.
one, and then I'll know who you are. Just don't change your profile pic, or you're never getting answered.
Yeah, as long as you're the dude riding an Ultralisk, I'll always know who you are.
But he used to do a really cool segment based for StarCraft on ancient battles and what you could learn from them to apply to your game.
It was really cool. I missed that segment.
Yeah, me too.
I got to meet, did I tell you I got to meet Patrick Beja this weekend, who used to do the add-on segment for the Instance of the World of Warcraft podcast way back in the day? Such a nice guy. So cool. He flew all the way over from France. I was really excited to meet him.
Oh, the whole Frog Pants community was a delight to meet up with.
Oh, dude, it was a blast. You want to hear more about that? Go listen to A-Move. I totally geeked out. I did a live show with Dills and was really nervous. Yeah, it's fun. It's a good time.
Yeah, in hindsight, I'm a little sad we didn't get to participate in that excitement and the live crowd for a StarCast. But then, I look at this past BlizzCon and I go, well, WCS wasn't over, so I guess we didn't have anything to talk about.
We would have had nothing to talk about.
All we would have missed the semifinals, which was the best part of the whole event, in my opinion. So
yeah, yep. It's just like there just wasn't time. Like it didn't work out right. If there were some panels worth talking about, we totally could have done one. But it's like, cool, guys. They did. Did you know there was a WCS this year?
And they also had Patrick Seats, the guy who does Grum Hellscream's voice, which honestly, for a guy who screams his ass off and is Orc Hitler, he was the nicest man I've ever met. He was so appreciative. The man is just coming into his fame, and he's blown away by people loving him. It's great. It was an awesome opportunity. But he plays Artanis. And yet we've seen him for 2 seconds. He's that guy who's flying around in the special Phoenix when you do that final level in Wings of Liberty.
Yeah.
And he was sitting there and he was like, well, I'm really excited, but I'm not going to do the voice for you guys because you don't know who the hell I am yet. There's a lot of lines. I'm cool. I'm excited to share it with you. That's it. I don't know what to say.
Awesome. Totally awesome. Well, all right, dude. I think that'll wrap it up for episode 172. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool. Make sure you guys tune in next week because, like I said, Jonathan Burton of Carbot Animations is going to be on to talk about StarCrafts and the recent shorts he's been doing for Heroes of the Storm, which have been just hysterical. If you have not seen these things, go to his channel on YouTube. Look up Carbot, Carbot Animations, and just watch it. If you haven't seen StarCrafts with an S on the end, where have you been? This is the best thing to come out of the StarCraft community, I think, ever. Screw GSL. I just want StarCrafts. It's amazing.
It came at the perfect time at some of the doomsaying and just this injection of pure happiness, cuteness, and just it took some of the edge off of the game. And I think we're all appreciative for what he did.
Yeah, it's great.
Blizzard certainly loves the hell out of him.
Mm-hmm. As they should, because it's amazing. As always, StarCast is a production of amove.tv. Go to amove.tv, bookmark that because you can see this and many other awesome shows like A-Move Radio or The Angry Chicken or Biggest Fan or The Gamer's Den, all over there. And maybe even some new shows that we're working on but can't talk about yet.
Exactly.
Yeah, enjoy.
But I'm very excited for those things.
I'm very excited for things I'm not allowed to talk about.
Yes.
When I say not allowed, it's stuff I think I could talk about because it's, our thing, but...
Right, but why would we ruin the surprise?
Yeah.
That's just not good marketing.
Yeah, so go to amove.tv. We record live on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, usually on twitch.tv/thehandsomenerd. We did it on amove.tv tonight because there's an issue getting up and running on the Handsome Nerd stream. I don't know what's going on over there.
Yeah, there was a weird update, and I think passwords got switched around.
Passwords did have a mandatory reset, so I'm wondering if that must have messed with stream keys as well. I don't know. Check out the VODs over on youtube.com/StarCast Show. I'm still working on getting all the StarCast VODs updated and whatnot, but I've been definitely more active over there now that the Angry Chicken is also over there on VOD form. Our podcast is available on iTunes, on Stitcher, and on the Frog Pants Studios Ultra feed over at frogpants.com. Our email is StarCastShow.
Are we also on that other thing now?
What other thing?
I
totally forgot. Oh, thank you for reminding me. Okay, we are on Alpha Geek Radio now, which is a live mobile cast, or it's a live stream. It's internet radio. We're not on the live Shoutcast stream yet. We will be soon. I need some new hardware once that gets in. We'll let you know when that's up and running and how to do that. But reruns of StarCast and The Angry Chicken both are now in syndication over there on Alpha Geek Radio. So just tune in if you just want good geek content constantly streamed into your ear holes. And I'd really like to thank Gnomewise for setting me up with that. And also, he was the one who provided all the stuff for the Angry Chickens live show. So big thanks to him and Alpha Geek Radio. Go check that out. Emails. send them to starcastshow@gmail.com. Call us at 941-882-0281 and leave us a voicemail. Keep them short and we'll put them on the show. You can follow us on Twitter at The StarCast. I am at Garrett Art, and Kyle is at Kyle Fergusson. Big thanks to Captain Newbing, our podcast producer who edits our audio-only version of the show that so very many of you listen to. And check out nomoonart.com. That's NOMOONART.com. That is my portfolio website. I'm a graphic designer. I freelance for a living, and I love doing work for nerds. So check it out. Contact me if you need some graphic design work done. Kyle, where can people find you?
You can also find me at Biggest Fan Podcast, where there's no show this week. There's not been a show for the past week because I was gone. But Pumpkin episode is up, and you got to love the episodes that are just about really straightforward things that just get... I love it. I love it. It's I think the most standard ones, like refrigeration, we did once. The technology of a refrigerator. One of my favorite episodes we've ever done. Definitely check out Pumpkin. And before I hand this back to you to just pass it off, I did want to do some shout outs here because it was awesome to see people show up to our bowling event as well. And I definitely wanted to thank the people that came to that. We had Dill show up. That was awesome. We had, Tash again. Awesome. Represented us all weekend. Chris, we got like 5 different Chris's to thank. We got Disney Chris, we got Buddha Chris, and then we got a Chris who heard me talking to Robert Clotworthy and thanked me for the show after. It was awesome to hear that as well.
Oh, that's totally badass. And I guess thanks Ben, who is another host on A-Move Radio, but thanks for coming. Because he's another lazy married bastard who goes to sleep really early.
He took some of the edge off.
I guess not lazy. I guess not lazy. He's just a married bastard who goes to sleep early.
Yep.
So there's that. Yeah, we had a great time. That oh man, bowling was so much fun. It was really wonderful, to get to not only lose in Heroes of the Storm to you and your wife, but to have my girlfriend Katie own us all in bowling.
Dude, she smashed.
She, by the way, is the worst bowler I've ever met in my life. I've never seen her do well. Like she usually just gutter ball, and she just destroyed us that night. I don't know.
Fates were on our side. Sadly, they weren't on my side for my granny roll.
Yeah, granny. It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. I'm
Missed
sorry,
it by
man.
like an inch.
I wasn't getting any strikes, but I have never picked up that many spares in my life. I was really proud of myself.
Nice.
So that was cool. Bowling's fun, man. We should do it more than once every BlizzCon. So anyways, there's that. Please check out our sponsors, DoghouseSystems.com, TweakedAudio.com, and SC2QuoteOfTheDay.com. Our code is StarCast, and that gets you double memory on your next Doghouse Systems gaming rig. And that same code gets you 30% off and free shipping on your entire order from TweakedAudio.com. And as always, go to SC2QuoteOfTheDay.com, bookmark it, and more importantly, download their app on iOS and Android. Just search for QOTD. And download the SC2 Quote of the Day app. It's very cool. We appreciate their support. And we will see you all next week with Jonathan Burton from Carbot Animations. Have a good week, everyone. Good luck and have fun.
Take care.